This morning on Houston Newsmakers, Houston political leadership is one of our topics. Congressman Kevin Brady is chair of the powerful House Ways and Means Committee. He's here to talk about priorities for 2016. Gene Locke is the new Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 1, his plans for his interim term and what it means for Houston. Councilwoman Brenda Stardig is here along with Ms. Wheelchair Texas of 2004 to talk about this year's pageant and what it means. And our Newsmakers Extra today, U of H professor of economics with the facts of how Houston will be impacted as the world's oil prices continue to drop.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
And welcome to Houston Newsmakers, and good morning to Congressman Kevin Brady, Republican from the 8th Congressional District, and now the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. That sounds great, doesn't it?
You know, it does. For having worked many years to be in a position to help lead this committee, yeah, it's very exciting.
How's that transition been going from being just a member to the chair?
Well, it was unusually quick because the former chairman, Speaker Paul Ryan, is now our speaker. He had to move very quickly into that, a position he frankly didn't seek. And so I had to move very quickly into this chairmanship as well, and had to tackle a big tax cut issue like in the first 30 days of the chairmanship. But yeah, it's been nonstop. It's exciting. To be honest, it's hard to sleep, because I'm excited about what I'm doing every morning.
Well, you know what? I'm excited, too, for you because of the position that it is. And also, the previous chairs of your committee, they've had a tradition of being launched into great things. We took a look at this. In the previous Ways and Means chairs, there have been 8 presidents, 8 vice presidents, 21 speakers of the House, and 4 justices of the Supreme Court. Well, what's next for you?
Well, this is the committee that I've longed to lead. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Ryan doesn't, and our former chairman doesn't end up on that trajectory. But getting a chance to follow Bill Archer from Houston in his footsteps, the last chairman of the committee from Texas, getting a chance to tackle the big issues. That's why you go to Congress, and that's what the committee's all about.
I know the Speaker talked about a number of priorities he'd like to see handled. Are the Speaker's priorities and your priorities the same as the committee's?
Yeah, they are. It's all about growth. It's all about a pro-growth agenda that gets people back to work and grows their paychecks, really gets the economy moving again. And so the Speaker Ryan has laid out 5 top priorities for House Republicans this year. 4 of them will be led by the Ways and Means Committee, so we've got our work cut out for us.
That is going to be a big load. Now, you schedule your first hearing of 2016 for next week, and that's going to be, the theme is delivering growth and opportunity for all Americans. What do you hope is going to come out of that, and how is that hearing structured?
You know, I think we're settling for too slow of an economy, too slow a growth in our paychecks.
When you say settling for,
yeah,
in terms of the...
As a nation, I think we've sort of accepted a new normal that we don't have to accept. I think we can do better than the economy we have, better in the paychecks that we bring home, but you've got to do things differently. And so I've laid out an agenda, a pro-growth agenda that includes fixing this broken tax code, because the way we tax families and businesses not only hurts us, but other countries are just passing us by. They're doing much better.
And you're concerned about how we can consolidate the tax codes down maybe into something that's a little bit more simple?
Yeah, I think we can make it fair, flatter, and simpler. I think we can lower the tax rates for families and businesses so they can keep more of what they earn. I think we can be competitive again around the world, because we're seeing companies, recent announcements here in the Houston region even, of companies relocating their headquarters in other countries just because their tax code is so high, the highest among our global competitors. They can't figure out a way to stay here. And I think we can do better.
Isn't the climate a good climate on Capitol Hill for both sides of the agenda to kind of, for that sort of thing? I mean, who's not in favor of simplifying a tax code?
You know, you're exactly right. There is great common ground on the need to do that. There may be differences in how we accomplish that. Republicans traditionally, we're looking for ways to grow the economy. My argument would be, I want a tax code built for growth. The growth of your family's paycheck, the growth of a local business, the growth of our U.S. economy. I think there's common ground there. Democrats may feel like tax reform is about raising more tax revenue. My argument would be, if we get the economy going and more taxpayers, you know, really working and growing and building their own paychecks, we'll see more tax revenue as a result of that. But I think there's common ground starting out.
You know, the Affordable Care Act, there's taxes around that somewhere or another as well, known as the Obamacare. And Speaker Ryan has said that one of the priorities they want to do is rewrite every word of that. My question is, with this current president in place, what's the point? Because you know he's going to veto it anyway.
Yeah, no, both tax reform, pro-growth tax reform, and replacing the Affordable Care Act is assuming there'll be a new president who's open to those types of changes. I feel strongly we need a Republican president to do exactly that. But our belief, and that's another priority for our committee and for House Republicans, is that Obamacare isn't working. The costs are too high. The out-of-pocket costs are continue to rise. Families in Houston are finding out they can't see a local doctor, go to a local hospital, or if they get cancer, go to MD Anderson. We think we can offer another alternative that's more centered around them.
Is the key going to be to make that alternative available and understandable and embraced by the population so they can understand it, to have an interest in trying to do some changes? Because right now, what I hear a lot is that if you do something, if you stop what we have now, there'll be millions of people who have insurance as a result of the Affordable Care Act who won't have it. So the plan to replace it would have to be something.
Great question. One, those who are on Medicaid are likely to remain on Medicaid. Those who are in private insurance, especially those who've been forced on the Affordable Care Act, and those who are choosing it, we think we have a better option that is more affordable for them, more tailored to them. For example, what we really see is offering a 21st century option in healthcare where at work you could choose a plan from your company, or you could choose a plan from other insurers competing for your business, one that works for you, that you could take from job to job, state to state if you move, home if you're raising a family or starting a business, and if it's a good plan for you, one that you could actually take in retirement. So we think in a 21st century where people don't stay at jobs for 40 years, where they're often starting businesses or raising that family, sometimes later in life, let's give them options they don't have today, and we can do it, I'm convinced, in a way that makes it more affordable for them.
What do you have to do to sell that?
We got a lot of work because the focus has been on Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and Republicans have come up with about 4 or 5 alternatives. I'm convinced we have to agree on one.
Okay.
It's, just as you said, that's understandable, because the current, the new ACA, gosh, it's 159 new federal agencies. It's so complex. Our constituents, frankly, can't understand it.
Well, you talked about the need for a new president. There's a lot going on in the GOP to try to do that. What do you think is going to happen, and who's your candidate?
Well, I tell you what, I love this primary process because it's not the establishment, it's not the party, it's voters who choose these candidates. We have a great, diverse field. They're all talented in their own way. And at the end of the day, I think this competition is good. You're going to see people rise to the occasion through the primaries. You're going to see some of them stumble and fall. At the end of the day, I think we're going to have a good candidate. I'm going to back that nominee, whoever it is, but I've always in primaries allowed, I've just said, look, let the voters have their say. And then let's unite and go forward into November.
Are you concerned about, even now in the Republican Party, you said it's exciting, but there's some splits going on here now because of what's the differences in these candidates, especially the top couple that are getting a lot of the traction.
Yeah, it is, but as you know, boy, these primaries ebb and flow. People are up and then they're down, and we'll see how they respond when things go well and when things don't. But at the end of the day, I think that makes them a better candidate for the presidency. And what I want is, I want a pro-family, pro-small business, Republican, conservative, who will tackle the big issues, that like Social Security, Medicare, and in the tax code. I mean, really tackle the big stuff that need to be tackled, and who has a positive vision for America, because I think, you know, people want to know we can do better as a country, both here at home and abroad, and I'm convinced we can.
Well, one thing I know is that you're not going to shy away from the big stuff. You never have. I appreciate you not shying away from coming to see me again. It's always good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. Good luck. Continued good luck for you as you work for the people of your district and the state of Texas and the United States.
Thank you, sir.
Coming up, the new Harris County Commissioner named to fill the seat of the late L. Franco Lee. What can we expect from the newly appointed Gene Locke? That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues. It was 4 weeks ago when we got word that Harris County Commissioner Elfranco Lee had died of a heart attack. He was the county's first African-American commissioner and served in that role for 30 years. One question after his death was who would fill the remainder of his term. That question was answered last week when Harris County Judge Ed Emmett selected Attorney Gene Locke to fill that role until January of next year. Good morning, Commissioner Locke. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Good morning.
One of the things that Judge Emmett said that he wanted somebody who was going to know the county, who knew Elfranco Lee and was someone who Elfranco Lee would have known and wanted to have this job. How do you feel in those areas?
Well, Commissioner Lee and I, with 30 years of friendship, he was in my wedding way back when, and we were very close. I have represented the county over the years on a number of matters. He and I have worked together on county projects on a number of matters. So I'm fortunate that not only did I know him and know kind of his style of operation, but more importantly, I understand county government and how it operates. And hopefully I can use both of those to kind of carry out his mission, because that's really my role, to make sure that Precinct 1 continues to live in the spirit of Commissioner Elfranco Lee.
With that being said, what are your priorities going to be going forward? I know it's early on, but if you had a chance to sit back and establish
Well,
those.
absolutely. I love what he loved. Serving the seniors, making sure that youth have an opportunity, making sure that there are capital projects in all aspects of Precinct 1 so that people can understand that government is being brought to them. You know, Commissioner Lee was not one to always be in front of the camera, but his presence was all around us. You go in community centers, if you look at mental health, mental retardation, community justice, youth programs, roads, bridges. He did a lot, and it's because of that you know, it inspired me to really think that his legacy needs to be continued, and that's really what I'm about.
One of the things you said when you were sworn in was that you were going to take a look at the budget. You hadn't had a chance to really delve into that. Have you looked at that? Are we in good shape? Are there any issues that
remarkably, Harris County is in extremely good shape for a governmental entity. Unlike other governmental entities across the country, Harris County has been very conservative, has run its fiscal affairs very well, and the commissioners and the county judge really ought to be applauded for that. So even with the economic downturn that's coming, Harris County will be okay.
Even with, now as we talk about being okay financially, there's a topic that's always around, and that's the Astrodome. And we wonder about what's going to happen with that. Do you know how Elfranco Lee thought about that? And you probably do. And if so, what was that, and how do you feel about it going forward?
Well, I think Commissioner Lee would have wanted the Astrodome to be put to a use that was public and served the greater good. I think he saw it as an asset to Harris County that the taxpayers had paid for. But I also think that he would not have wanted to straddle the taxpayers with new and cumbersome debt that would be facing generations to come. So my task is to work with the county judge and the commission to see if there are alternative uses that can be employed with the county, using both public and private resources to make sure that that facility continues to be a part of our present and our history.
It's been going on quite some time now. I wouldn't expect, maybe you are optimistic and you think you can maybe see something happen within this.
I am not a magician. I'm only a man.
That's right. Well, I'm told that when you said that you had to be talked into this, is that true?
Yeah, it is true. It is true. I mean, I'm a lawyer, and I have a great life and had a great legal career, and really enjoyed that. But I thought about the opportunity that this position presents, the ability to help people, to help make a meaningful impact in people's lives. And I think for me, I've come to a point in my life where that's important to me. The ability to say that I was part of making a difference in somebody's life. That kind of gets me up in the morning and gets my juices jangling.
Well, I know that you've been a servant in so many different ways, whether it's official or unofficial, or you ran for mayor, you wanted that job. Is this going to be an opportunity for you to go ahead and put in stone, if you will, your spirit, your heart, in terms of what you feel about this community?
Well, in part. I hope that that happens, but really my role is to make sure that the spirit of Commissioner Lee manifests itself in this community. And fortunately, he was so generous with his time and his efforts, and he had such an impact. If I can just kind of follow in that role, I'll be okay.
Good deal. Well, we look forward to seeing great things from you in Precinct 1, and I hope you'll come back and see us again.
I'll be here anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Good to see you again. So, my question for you is, did you know that there was a Miss Wheelchair Texas contest? It's been around for quite some time. The 2016 contest is right around the corner. Former winner and council member Brenda Stardike here to talk about why it's important for all of us. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues.
RC Channel 2. This is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
And welcome back. What an honor it is to have in the studio this morning Angela Wigglesworth, Ms. Wheelchair Texas 2004, and Houston City Council member Brenda Stardike from District 8. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
It's coming up again, the Ms. Wheelchair Texas Gala coming up next Saturday. How long has it been around?
Wow, we have been in existence since 2005, so we're looking at our 12th pageant.
And this sort of pageant, why was it started?
Well, it was started to find a spokeswoman for people with disabilities. We really want a voice in the public, and this is a great way to seek out an accomplished woman who is motivated and really doing great things in her community and can speak for the millions of Texans with disabilities.
And Council Member, you've been a part of this process for a long time, supporting this pageant for a while as well. What was it that made you want to get involved?
Well, I've been involved with the community for a number of years. I'm fluent in sign language, so I know a number of my friends have been in this community, and but this particular pageant, they asked me to be a judge, a celebrity judge, and I was honored, of course, but it just touched my heart. I am so impressed with these ladies. It's something that everyone needs to experience at least once.
Speaking of that, Angela, you won in 2004, which is
did.
quite simple. A lot's happened since then. What do you think has happened in terms of our attitudes? People who aren't disabled, the attitudes of us as it relates to those of you.
Absolutely. I think a lot of stereotypes have, in these last few years, have really been turned around, and people are seeing more and more folks with disabilities out in the community, participating in life just like they should. So my goal is to continue to see people with disabilities represented in the media. I want to open up a magazine and see a woman with a disability just as often as I do an able-bodied person.
It should be mentioned that you are a third-grade teacher, and you've been teaching for how long?
16 years.
And your babies, how do they react to you?
Oh, they're wonderful. You know, I sit them down on the first day of school and I say, now is the time to ask me how fast my wheelchair goes. Not when I'm in the middle of a reading lesson. So they're wonderful.
That whole process is so unique because you show them that you can do what a lot of other teachers can do.
Absolutely, and I think they have the unique opportunity to be really helpful. There's so much that I physically can't do, and they get to do it for me, and that helps them to become better people.
Councilmember, what does an event like this do to help shape the attitudes and maybe even the laws that go along in the city of Houston and our community?
Well, it's about awareness, and when you see Angela out in the community and with the, like she said, you want to focus on what we can do versus what we can't do, and it shouldn't be an exception to the rule. At City Hall recently, we were looking at the fact that we didn't have automated doors, and so because of their advocacy, they were there at City Hall and making us aware of the issues that they faced, and that was something that should have been done. We've had ADA for 25 years, and here we are in our 25th year. And finally getting automated doors.
Well, those are some of the things that are happening that are positive, but when you get right down to it, it's all about hearing your name called as the winner.
Yes.
So what was that like? Can you remember? I mean, you see it every year subsequent to your year as well, but what's that like when you hear that?
I do. You know, I was crowned in San Antonio. It was a different organization, and I was crowned in a honky-tonk, and I got to tell you that there's power in a crown and a sash. There really is, and it's incredible, and to know that you are going to be the voice for Texans with disabilities is a great honor, and Yeah, it's exciting.
2015 winner, I was watching her. She's an attorney.
Yes,
and she
in
does it.
Austin.
She's a law. It's just very rewarding for those of us. I want to encourage people to go to your website to be able to see some of the videos of what's going on, so you can see how normal everybody is and break down some of those stereotypes. I want to make sure everybody knows when and where this event is. It's coming up this Saturday, 6 to 9 at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. $75 or $25 for kids under 12. If you need more information, call 281-635-2032. That's the number to call. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your win and your continued. You're on the board as well,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Keeping
Yes,
everything
sir.
going. Council member, thank you for what you do.
And
Thanks
Dave-
for calling this to my attention.
No,
You gave
thank
me a
you for
call.
your support. This means a lot to all of us.
See, that's how it works. She called me, this gets on. You can do that too. Good luck this next weekend.
Thank you.
Coming up, oil in Houston, a Newsmakers Extra on what's it doing to the Houston economy. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues. We've watched the oil prices tank on the world market, and it's hitting several Houston industries rather hard. The question is, how much more difficult is the downturn likely to be, and how will Houston be able to handle it? Dr. Adam Perdue, University of Houston professor of economics, is going to be doing the Houston Newsmakers Extra this week on what's ahead. Dr. Perdue, this whole process has been something Houston looks at and we've been through before. Is Houston well primed to be able to handle this downturn this time around?
Looks like we're still doing pretty well, considering everything that's been going on. Upstream oil and gas is the primary part of the Houston economy. But we just got new numbers on the initial estimates for employment growth from the Texas Workforce Commission and the Dallas Fed. That estimates that we added somewhere between 17 and 23,000 jobs, positive growth this year.
And you're not surprised that at that number, that seems, considering what's going on around us in the world, that be adding jobs seems like it's counterintuitive.
Well, so the United States economy has been growing rather fast, and so we have a lot of other industries here in Houston, a lot of other companies outside of upstream oil and gas that do serve the national economy.
Now, we're going to talk more about all of that in our Newsmakers Extra. You can go to it to get the answer that Dr. Perdue has, this answer, this very important question about oil economics and its impact on Houston. Go to click2houston.com under the news banner, click on Newsmakers, and in the information about this show, you can click on the link to Newsmakers Extra. Very easy to do. I hope you'll do so. Thank you to all my guests for joining me this morning, and to all of you for tuning in. Have a great day. I'll see you back here again next week.